Star Wars 7x7 episode 2619. In today's What to Watch Now episode, did you know that the Disney Plus YouTube channel has published 385 videos in the last year alone, and it's been active for 2 years. Some of those videos are about Star Wars, and I went through all of them to pick them out for you, and I'll share some of my favorites. Punch it. Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod and this is Star Wars 7x7, your daily dose of Star Wars joy, and thank you so much for joining me for it. So, out of all of those videos, that's quite a lot. Don't worry, I didn't actually watch all 385 videos in the past year. I just kind of scrolled through the all videos thing, and there are only really a dozen videos that are worth flagging for the attention of Star Wars fans. Now, I'm not being picky about it in the sense that if there was something that was about, I don't know, a Lego Star Wars thing, I, didn't remove it from the list because of that. What I did use for my criteria is whether the video was actually fully about Star Wars. For example, there was an episode of their What's Up series that they do every so often that was ostensibly about the 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm, and the hosts do a quick recap of all the movies in the Skywalker saga, but the majority of the episode is about a lot of other things. It's barely about the Lucas 50th at all, so I left that one off the list. So when all is said and done, we're down to 12 videos, and I made a playlist for you, so I will link it in the blog post for the show's episode at sw7x7.com, and I'll include a link in the show notes as well. But I have a playlist on the Star Wars 7x7 YouTube channel with the 12 videos, and 4 of them, actually, it turns out, are about the Bad Batch. The first one is a when we last saw the Bad Batch video. So basically it's a video in preparation for the fact that the Bad Batch would be debuting on Disney Plus, and it's a great recap of basically the first story arc of season 7 of the Clone Wars. I mean, maybe not a recap, just a reintroduction to the characters as seen through there. And it includes the final scene in the last episode of that arc when Rex and Echo are talking, and Rex says, we've known each other a long time. If that's where you feel like you belong, like I support you doing it, and Echo leaving to join the Bad Batch. Man, it still gets you a little misty watching it. Yeah, it was very touching. And then the previously mentioned What's Up series that they have ongoing, episode 25 is mostly about the Bad Batch. There are also things about, here's what's new on Disney Plus, that's sort of like a little commercial in between, but their first segment is with Kristen Baver, where they kind of recap stuff about the Bad Batch, and then the last segment is a situation with Jennifer Corbett and Brad Rao, who are the producers of the Bad Batch, and they have fun questions like, who would you want to cook you a meal, or who would you want to cook a meal with, and what would it be, and like who would you want to babysit your kid, and questions like that, and who they would have for the Bad Batch doing that sort of thing. So that's good fun. There's also a Ming-Na Wen video where she's reacting to characters in the Bad Batch, and probably my favorite of the 4 is one with D. Bradley Baker, where he talks about 3 tips that he has for voicing his characters, and that is just really incredible, and you actually get to see his face as he is switching from the voices of Wrecker to Echo to Tech to Crosshair to Hunter. Like, just him doing it right there on the fly is just so incredible. Then they have sort of listicle videos like 8 memorable X-Wing and TIE Fighter moments, and when you watch that, you suddenly have the realization, oh yeah, X-Wings and TIE Fighters were not in the prequel trilogy. I was watching it and going, there's something from the original trilogy. Oh, there's something from the sequel trilogy. I wonder if we'll get something from the prequel trilogy. And then it was like, and there's Rogue One, and I was like, oh, duh, of course there's not going to be any from the prequel trilogy in this, because X-Wings and TIE Fighters weren't a thing during that. So that was kind of a weird thought to have in the moment, but great fun to see them spliced together. And the most recent one they did was 10 Star Wars cameos you didn't know happened, and things like John Williams being in The Rise of Skywalker, and Anthony Daniels being in Solo: A Star Wars Story, and Lin-Manuel Miranda being a Resistance pilot in The Force Awakens, stuff like that. I will say it's not nearly complete, although it's not presented as being a complete list of cameos or anything like that, so that's okay. But for example, Mark Hamill being the voice of that little guy at Canto Bight who's trying to use BB BB-8 as a slot machine, right? So, you know, that's just one of many cameos that Mark Hamill has done. And then, you know, things like Daniel Craig as the Stormtrooper who gets mind tricked by Rey, you know, stuff like that. Like, yeah, there's a lot more cameo stuff that's out there, but this is, you know, kind of a neat introduction to it. Then there are a couple of holiday themed ones like BB-8 singing Jingle Bells, which is, you know, it doesn't sound like they necessarily took, well, basically when you watch the video, it's a compilation of BB-8 scenes from the sequel trilogy movies and him beeping in the tune of Jingle Bells, but I don't think they actually spliced up the movie beeps and made it so that he really was doing it. I think it was a track recorded separately, and that's fine. And then Anthony Daniels talking about what he would give C-3PO for the holidays, and that's basically a glorified commercial for the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special. That's okay. It's still fun to see him talking and thinking about C-3PO. It's, you know, it's a quick one, and it's just a little burst of a thing. But speaking of 3PO, there are a couple of compilation videos of memorable scenes, and one of them is called R2-D2 and C-3PO. These are the droids you're looking for, and it's basically a supercut of their interactions, not in order, just, you know, spliced together in highly amusing ways. Like, it was really awesomely done. And another similar one that was adorable moments with the child from The Mandalorian, and that was also very well done. They're almost like little music videos in a way. Like, I remember going to a Comic-Con a long time ago back when Star Trek The Next Generation was a thing, and watching videos, music videos basically, that they put together with clips from TNG, like, you know, a whole bunch of Data scenes set to Mr. Roboto by Styx, which, you know, kind of on the nose. But another one with a whole bunch of scenes with Lieutenant Worf, and it was set to I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For by U2, and yeah, that was a better one. But basically kind of the same thing with, you know, fun music in the background with R2 and 3PO and all of their scenes, and cut together with the dialogue very amusingly. And then, of course, stuff with the child, like I've mentioned too. And that's including my all-time favorite line, possibly from every Star Wars live-action thing, when Greef Karga has been injured in Chapter 7 of The Mandalorian, and Grogu is going up to him, and he's going to heal him, but Greef Karga is freaking out. He's like, he's going to eat me! That was just fabulous. I still love that. There's also a great compilation video of the best Star Wars references from The Simpsons, and that's a real quick hit, bam, 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 bam kind of video. And I'm sure that one was not complete either. Again, it didn't bill itself as that, but yeah, I mean, still some great ones in there. And one more that I haven't mentioned, which is an All the Facts video. So these two guys, Marcellus and Ken, do a video where they go through A New Hope and give you all the facts. This is a Disney Plus Deets thing, I guess. And they are fantastic, and they go really deep into the stuff. Like, they're talking about Ralph McQuarrie and showing concept art. They're talking about Willard Hike looking at the script and saying, I didn't get it. Like Willard Hike, who along with Gloria Katz punched up the dialogue. And they show behind the scenes stuff from filming in Tunisia, and talk about how, you know, he didn't have the modern filmmaking tools George Lucas didn't, but that, you know, after he directed Star Wars, he didn't direct for 21 years after that, and in the meantime he kind of dedicated himself to improving movie making tools. And so there's a brief thing about that. Really awesomely done, and I highly recommend it. And that's what I got for you. So I will continue to check the Disney Plus channel on YouTube, and if there are any other interesting Star Wars related videos on there, I will drop them on a playlist on Star Wars 7x7's YouTube channel, so you can check them out and find them more easily. And once again, the playlist I will link in the show notes for this episode and at the blog post for this episode at sw7x7.com. And that's going to do it for this episode of the podcast. It just remains for me to say thank you so much for joining me for it, as always, and may the Force be with you wherever in the world you may be.
7x7 is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox, and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2021 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.